us in the Loud House. One boy, 10 girls, wouldn't trade it for the world. Loud, Loud House.
Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Today's Loud House episode was requested by Mr. Emperor CJ. No, the voices were unfamiliar. They were arguing about where to trick or treat next. One of them wanted to go home and call a friend. How about a little scared for you guys? Carly Beth thought, a smile spreading across her face. How about something to remember this Halloween night? She waited, listening until they were a few feet away. Oh, hi, you're here. I was reading a book of my own. By the way, here's a little game for this review. What book was I reading? Was it A, Dracula, B, Carrie, C, The Haunted Mask, or D, Nightmare Before Christmas? If you think you know the answer, place it in the comment section below and wait till the very end of the review to see if you got it right, to find out what book was I reading. Speaking of that, read aloud. No, not read aloud.
Are you an idiot?
Read aloud, as in fucking reading a book. Read a book. Read aloud. Yeah, that's better. Read aloud. It is the 43rd episode of Season 2 of The Loud House, but overall, the 95th episode. And this is a really interesting one. The start of this episode starts with Lincoln bringing a special announcement to the family.
The library is having a contest. We can win an entire night at Spunky Pigeons.
Spunky Pigeons Pizza Palooza Paradise, starring your favorite video games, your favorite toppings, and your favorite hits.
The Spunky Pigeon shit looks something like out of a Chuck E. Cheese commercial mixed with Five Nights at Freddy to it. No matter. In order for them to get to this pizza place, they have to read as many books as they can as a family.
Well, hot dog, kids! We've got some reading to do!
To the library! Oh, my overdue fines?
Fines? What fines, Lisa? Sounds like you did something. So much everybody is down for the idea, except for Lola, which kind of surprises me at first.
Reading, huh?
Based on her tone that she's feeling like she doesn't want to read a book. Well, most kids don't want to read books or do summer homework while they're on summer vacation. Anyways.
Whoops! Hush tones, kids.
My son died.
I said, quiet.
Sorry. Anyways, the whole Loud family goes through the library to try and get their own books, while Lisa is wearing a disguise, making her look like she's related to Yosemite Sam.
You look familiar.
Oh, no, ma'am. I'm brand new to these here parts.
I swear I've seen you before.
Sounds like you two met each other before. So the family got their books, and they're gonna head on their way back home and start reading.
Emilio, I'm gonna need backup.
So returning from the library...
Stickers? I'm not sure those count as something to read.
Reading's boring.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Well, tough tiaras, because I'm not gonna do it.
Watch your mouth, you little smartass. You almost said a bad word there.
Tough kitty! I ain't got time for this bullshit.
The family fears that Lola's gonna blow their chance at the pizza party. Any other options we can think of?
Easy. We chain her up in the attic and tell the librarian she never existed. Lana just has to pretend she has a split personality.
I can do it.
Oh, goody.
It can happen. And I can 100% guarantee that the place reeks of burnt pizza.
Seems a little extreme.
Honey, there's pizza at stake here.
And Rita is starting to sound like a little hypocrite there. I mean, for real, if all else fails, you can either just bake the frozen pizza, or you could just order out from Pizza Hut or Papa John's. They got some pretty good sweet pizzas. And Lola so much thinks that reading is boring, so the family's gonna have to try to convince Lola into reading to show that it's not really boring. I like to say reading's really much enjoyable, even for me. You know when they say when you go to the movies you can learn something? Well, reading a book more often is where you can learn more in life.
You're right. That makes more sense. Just in case, keep your chains handy.
Whoa, you are goofy. A disgraceful performance.
So when Lola comes around every kind of place with Lynn Sr. in the kitchen at first, trying to convince Lola into reading a cookbook with him of making waffles with a banana and eggs. Sounds tasty. I also had chickens and waffle together before.
Hey, I'm getting hungry.
No, but when you've made those pancakes, give me a holler. Lola out.
But no cooking for Lola?
This book is a hoot. I'm gonna have to get some ice for my knees. I've been slapping them so hard. Care to read one? Sorry, Mom says I do too much slapping already. And biting, and shin kicking, and hair pulling.
No jokes for Lola.
All fixed. It is amazing what you can learn from these auto repair books. Want to read one, Lola? Why? That's what I pay you for. 8 crickets, as agreed.
And not willing to learn anything from Lana or Lola. Now I'm kind of wondering if the crickets are for Lana or for her pets. Now making me think that Lana would actually eat crickets reminds me of a certain Goosebumps episode I once saw.
Some crunchy crickets, my little friends.
Hello there.
Gonna check out volume 1 of the greatest romance of all time. He's a dark, brooding vampire. She's a misunderstood girl from the wrong side of the cemetery.
And is it just me or does this romantic book sound somewhere close to from a book that got made into a messed up movie?
Stop! For the last time, I am not interested in reading any of your books!
She's Lola acting like a little pushy jerk. If I had to make a good correction about this, of getting Lola to read a book, she wouldn't be very interested in what you guys love to read most. And I think it would probably be best to find something about what she could actually read. Like one of those Disney princess beginnings. It's got pictures in them too.
Hey, Lola.
Whoa, what the fuck? How's Lincoln able to fit his simple-minded body into that damn thing? No matter, Lincoln actually gives her an actual book called The Bossy Twins, which somehow looks like something that has the Olsen twins in it with the adventures of Tintin.
Did they ever solve the mystery of who gave them those hideous haircuts?
Lincoln tries one more time again with a different book about some Tea Party etiquette.
It'll answer all of your burning questions about Tea Party etiquette.
I don't have any questions. I'm an expert.
Is that so?
You wouldn't happen to know what the serving proper temperature for Earl Grey?
208 degrees Fahrenheit.
Christ.
Lincoln tries once more again to get Lola to read Frankie the Fairy.
Pass, I'm into unicorns now.
He brings out another book, again called Unicorns of University.
I've already seen the movie. Ugh, that's 99 minutes I'll never get back.
So I'm kind of surprised about why is there even a book called Unicorns of University? Unitards are only make-believe.
Just like elves, gremlins, and Eskimos.
Really?
Eskimos are real, you dumbass.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta tinkle.
Thanks for sharing that.
Come on, Lola. The contest ends tomorrow, and you're letting everyone down. I'm not moving until you agree to read a book.
Fine, just give me the princess one.
Boy, that's a spirit.
So the Aloud family is back at the library, and they had totally finished reading each and every book that they have read. Well, not each and every book. About 260 books they have actually read. And is it just me, or on that board does the Van Pelt look somewhere familiar to 2 Peanuts characters who we kinda hate? Well, one of them at least. The other one's cool. Really cool. And the librarian decides to give them a book-by-book quiz. And unbelievably, every family has answered all their questions right.
Bread crust and a meatloaf. How much?
Half a cup.
Very good. You, twist ending. Go.
So it turns out it wasn't even a student running the blog. It was a teacher, and he literally tried to frame Gabby with a laptop in her...
That's enough. Very good. Now, what does the cow say? Very good. Ace Savvy's real name.
Speed Nifty.
What time was Mr. Darcy's party?
8 p.m. sharp.
Einstein's wives?
Maleva 1903 to 1919. Elsa 1919 to 1936. Y'all.
4-stroke engine cycle consists of
Intake, compression, power, exhaust.
Sis Boomba.
The sound made when a sheep explodes.
quotes Mick Swagger owes his entire career to.
Delta blues musician Ricky Bottoms.
Fashion began with
Charles Frederick Worth, first to sew a label.
the greatest of all time.
Muhammad Ali, also prettiest.
The night the vampire cried.
Trick question. He cried every night.
Except for Lola.
Little girl, did you even read this book?
No, I didn't read it.
And so much the family is taken off the board because every member has to read at least one book.
I told you I didn't want to do this stinking challenge.
So long, spunky pigeon.
Yeah, I'd like to give Lola a pizza my mind. But seriously, she ruined everything.
Yo, you guys could always order the pizza instead. Not too late though. The contest ends at 5 p.m. and by far it's only 3 o'clock. And what's the point of getting Lola to read if she's not going to participate in it? I would, but then again I wouldn't. If I was obsessed that much as this family is being. But Lincoln is on board to help get her to read the book by till 5 o'clock.
Leave everything to me. I'll get her to read that book by 5.
Well, this should be good.
So the rest of the family leave, leaving Lincoln and Lola at the library, leaving everything all up to Lincoln.
All right, what's the deal, Lo? Won't you just read one book?
Won't you just read one book? No, I won't.
Well, why the heck not?
Okay, Lincoln. I guess it's time I told you the truth. I just don't like pizza.
Yeah. Survey says? That's what I thought.
Damn straight.
It's time to be a team player.
Well, I'm not moving, so good luck getting me back in there.
Hey, I'm no one's messenger boy, all right? I'm a delivery boy.
You wouldn't dare.
Actually.
So Lincoln decides to take Lola on the hard way and force her to read the princess book. But...
Where? Dang it.
Lincoln gives chase to Lola throughout the whole library.
I have you now.
My caves will be your tomb.
And of course, Lola attacks Lincoln. And they so much get into a fight once more again. Yeah, and when I say once more again, I mean that this has happened much all the time through any other episodes previously that they have been into a fight with Lincoln before. Either Lola, Lana, or any of the sisters been in a fight with Lincoln. But honestly, is it really that hard to read one book?
Wait, what?
What?
What? What? What? What?
What? What? What?
What?
What? Nothing. You said what first?
I didn't say what first. I asked you what.
No, you said and then what, and I said what?
No, I said what? Like what?
What in the black Jesus?
It's too hard for me to read, so I never do. Don't you think I want to read about American princesses and unicorns and the Bossy twins? Even if they have terrible hair?
You know, as much as I hate to stop here in between the sweet moment between Lincoln and Lola, if that was the case of it being too hard for Lola to read, then how come she was able to know what cookie spells like in baby steps, or knew how to read partly in ties that bind? I know this is just kind of a nitpicking, but it seemed to me that Lola already knew how to read, but I'm actually surprised that much all the other siblings would even want to read books, even Lana. And I will say this, everybody's completely different. Whether you're an expert at reading or not, for some people, even little kids, especially first graders, it must be so much difficult to read. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. It's just one of the facts of human life cycles. It can be a little difficult to read, and it can be a little hard to pronunciate some words you never hear every day of your life. And it can be challenging to read on your own without guide. But anyways, Lincoln decides to help Lola out.
What if I helped you?
Are you sure? I'm so slow, and we don't have much time. Doesn't it end at 5?
We'll get through it together, and you'll see, the more you read, the easier it gets. Come on, sis, I'll show you.
I love that face Lola makes. That is just the face of a sweet, innocent little girl's face, which is how she is in this episode. I love how Lincoln's actually stepping up for Lola to actually help her read. And he really is a cool big brother to Lola. Lincoln and Lola are actually in the study room now and part of the library. This is actually one of my favorite scenes in the episode, where Lincoln's actually teaching Lola how to read the book. I will say this is one of Chris Savano's much finest works of the Loud House of Season 2, of showing the wonders of reading and the difficulties it can be to read. To much show the wonders of reading and the difficult challenges of reading for kids. It's all a talk and a show in one. So Lola finishes reading the book. Don't you just love sweet moments with a brother and sister together when they hug? Especially when it's Lola who's hugging Lincoln. Lincoln and Lola step out of the study room and the whole family's right there. And not looking so happy, I can tell.
The contest ended half an hour ago!
Totally my fault. It's just so quiet here. I must have fallen asleep.
Oh god, not this shit again like you did in Sleuthing Consequences.
Wait, stop, Lincoln. This is my fault. You spent the whole time helping me to read, because, well, it's hard for me. But I like it now, and I'm going to keep practicing because it's not as hard as I thought.
Now this is what I really loved, and what could have been better for any other episode besides Lincoln taking the blame for everybody. Instead of Lola dodging the bullet, she actually takes it. And wasn't too shameful to tell the actual truth besides Lincoln blaming himself for everything, which he shouldn't have to fucking do. So all is forgiven and apologized, and Spunky Pigeon doesn't matter to them anymore.
Yes, the important thing is that you're now able to enjoy the wonders of literacy.
You! I knew I recognized that voice. The one with the fines. Some deuces, I'm out.
Oh Jesus, I hate to imagine how much does she owe.
Cheesy Bites.
Thanks to the Ninja Turtles, Cheesy Bites are back. Try one now for $11.99 or get any other pizza for just $11 online.
You know, this commercial is so realistic, I totally smell pizza.
Turns out the whole family does smell pizza, and it's coming from Lola and Lana's room. Lola is in her chef outfit, using one of her dad's cookbooks, and using her Easy Bake ovens to actually bake pizza.
Hey guys, now that I can read, I thought I'd make us all some pizza. Pepperoni's in the oven, and next up is pineapple.
Oh yum, I love pineapple pizza. But I prefer barbecue or meat lovers pizza. And I'm gonna love to say it, Lola is such a sweetheart. I know I said this before in my editorial before. I don't like so much of the bad choices that she actually makes. But at least she has a soul and a caring heart for others. So she's not a complete hateable character. There are lots of times where Lola is a really likable character. And yet she is one of my favorite characters, along with Luann and Lucy. This episode, along with Undie Pressures, are my favorite that has some really good, sweet Lola Loud moments in them. Of course, there are a few more episodes that have Lola's good moments into it that I'll tackle on soon enough. So the family's actually enjoying the pizza that Lola's baking.
Well, isn't this just great? Just as good as Spunky Pigeons.
But you know, I have the strangest feeling that we forgot something.
Get back here!
You'll never catch me, Weather!
You owe me $50,000!
What in the actual fuck? $50,000 she owes? How many fucking books did Lisa actually borrow that made her cost her $50,000? You know, I know this is a cartoon and everything, but no one can actually reach that minimum late fees to a library. Because normally fines are generally not uncapped, but reaching a maximum vault related to a replaceable cost of a book. I mean, in New York's public library, borrowing of fees are suspended once a card holder reaches $15. I kid you not, look it up. I had researched this. Jesus Christ, I wonder how Lisa's gonna pay all that. And that was Read Aloud. Before I can give the rate of this episode, let me explain a lot of good things about this episode. First of all, I love how it focuses on Lola. You know, normally Lola is portrayed as a rude, selfish, spoiled brat. But here she's actually an innocent young girl struggling to learn how to read. And that actually made me sympathize with her. And Lincoln, being such a good brother that he is, helping her was just too darn sweet. But if I may say something about this episode, The family was kind of acting like selfish pricks because of this damn contest. And I would say the same thing about Lola too, when she didn't want to tell her family that she didn't know how to read, but she kind of acted like a jerk. But she just didn't want to admit it that she can't read. If the family didn't realize this earlier, then they should have not put Lola through all of that. But they're her family, and plus, if this pizza party meant so much to them, then they wouldn't even fucking hesitate to help her. But they would have if she would have just admitted. And for one thing, I almost hated this episode. Remember, I just said almost hated. It is just because when Lincoln volunteered that he would help Lola how to read, even if he did teach her how to read and they did miss the deadline, and much of the family ended up blaming him. And yet he tried to take much the blame for Lola about the same crap that he did in Salute Their Consequences with Lucy. But there was a saving grace to this. At least, Lola defended Lincoln when he was actually getting blamed for it, when she was the one that got blamed for it. That is just sweet. I love how Lola just stood up for Lincoln. The episode Read Aloud was good and it was relatable. It made me like Lola even more. This was a nice insight on how some people can actually struggle with something like reading. This is a very relatable issue that people in Lola's shoes would have totally acted the exact same way. And yet some people do struggle in similar manners, and reading is a wonderful experience. Kids, grown-ups, people on the internet, if you have a really trouble reading, then don't feel too shameful to ask for help. It's just that easy. All you have to do is just ask somebody at a library or even your parents. There's a lot of words and fun in reading, everybody. And Lola does not have dyslexia. She's just a first grader. I'll give it that some first graders do have trouble reading. It's part of life. The episode itself was cute, but not cutesy as fucking Care Bears. It's just cute seeing Lincoln and Lola together in this one, getting more relationship developed. This episode was both good and entertaining, and that's why this one gets 89 stars. So, did any of you guys figure out what book was I reading at the beginning of the review of this video? If you guessed C, The Haunted Mask, you're right. It is a Goosebump books by R.L. Stine. It's my favorite episode and it's my favorite book I like to read, and I've read this book about 70 times now. I'm the Loud House Critic, and I gotta go read a few more books.
Someone please explain why I'm wearing my goulash?
Well, she won't mind if I just break off a little corner.
And take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything, and take a look, it's in a book.